much pressure is on Mbappé to win a trophy with Real Madrid and it being the Champions League?
It's massive, right? What world, if you told any of us when he made this move and left PSG, when he did, the PSG side that were in the semifinal of the Champions League. And let's not forget that how that semifinal went was Kylian Mbappé not being clinical enough. Kylian Mbappé not willing to do the extra and go the extra mile to see his PSG side through to a final that would have pit them against Real Madrid. Then he gets this dream move of his, lifelong dream, to go to Madrid. He's on the verge of going trophyless in his first 2 seasons. Madrid fans wouldn't be happy with it. They're barely happy with him right now, which is mad because you think of the amount of goals that he's had. But there are a faction of Madrid fans that do argue that maybe Real Madrid may have been better off without Kylian Mbappé. I know it's mad, but it's not my words. It's some of theirs. So there's a bit of discontent right now with the big Frenchman.
It hurts in particular for Mbappé. He leaves Madrid, or he joins Madrid after they win the Champions League. He leaves PSG. They win the Champions League without him. It's a tough couple years in this competition for him, though his individual excellence is unquestioned. He's got to deliver this week.
Who would you argue has more momentum going into this game, Geoff? Because I feel like in the last 30 minutes of the first leg, we could argue it was Real Madrid. Do you think that still stands today?
Yeah, 100%. Again, I was thinking of our rankings of the ties that could turn round, the most intriguing. If we put Atleti Barca first, this is definitely number 2. And it's not a million miles behind for me, Hannah. This could swing massively. The chances created, we can talk about reasons why and storylines to watch in a bit. But I think they'll go there. It's not about momentum, because if you think in their 2 respective leagues, obviously Bayern Munich, they've got a cigar on and carpet slippers, so they're fine. These boys, they're trailing in Barcelona's dust.
Yeah.
It's over. So you could argue for these, same as Barcelona, it's or bust, isn't it? Simple as that.
Yeah.
This is it. This is give it your best shot, boys. And it's a similar problem they face because Barcelona, they're not like Atleti. Bayern have the attacking prowess, the players and the ability to sucker them in. They could rip Real Madrid apart if Real Madrid go too strong too early in the game. But it's another great tie.
Yeah, very entertaining matchup. And you mentioned storylines to watch. So why don't you get us started with your one you're going to be watching out for?
Well, it refers to the chances. Manuel Neuer. I always say you can never be too critical of your team if they've been beaten and the opposition goalkeeper is man of the match. So you're doing something right, aren't you? Now, in this game, he made 9 saves. That's his highest number in the last 5 seasons, okay, including 3 each from Mbappé and from Vinny as well. If Bayern Munich allow Real Madrid that many chances again, can he produce a performance of that level again? Now, he's at his peak in terms of goalkeeping, but he's 40 years of age. Now, there was nothing to suggest he wasn't like a 28-year-old in the last tie, but you can't always rely on your goalkeeper every single time. And if I'm Bayern Munich, I'd be worried if he was as busy as last time. Equally, he's got it in his locker to produce a similar performance. So I'm intrigued in that battle, him against Real Madrid.
And particularly with Real Madrid not having Thibaut Courtois, because both of those keepers are liable to win a match on their own. Courtois, I'd say more so, just given the ages and where they've been and what he's done in the Champions League. But he's not playing. So that is such an advantage for Bayern Munich in that if the chances are equal, you're backing your team to get the goals in rather than worrying about Courtois standing on his head, because there's no disrespect to the backup, but he's not Courtois. Courtois, I think, is the best in the world. Neuer is not far off, and what he did in the first leg was a best-in-the-world type of performance. So I think just the goalkeepers in these single matches are very interesting. And that brings me to mine. Can you even slow this Bayern attack down? It'd be nice to have Courtois as the last line of defense because he does a lot of inexplicable saves and he can paper over a whole lot of cracks. You look at this Bayern Munich team, these individual players, unbelievable. These are some of the best players in the world, forming the best attacking unit in the world right now. They have 139 combined goals in 40 matches in the Bundesliga and the Champions League. Say that again, 139. It is a team that has scored 2+ goals in 13 of their last 14 games, 22 of their last 24. So Madrid are going to Munich and knowing it is almost a non-chance of keeping a clean sheet. So you're already at a deficit, and you're already thinking, well, Bayern are probably going to score, if not one, maybe multiple. What do we need to do going into this game to get there? Madrid is not a team that has kept many clean sheets. They have none in their last 6. Their last one was against Manchester City in the Champions League, and that was their only one in their last 11. There's going to be goals. So if Bayern Munich, even if they do give up a lot of chances, Jeff, like you said, all they need to do is score 1 or 2. And this is a team that always scores more than 1 or 2.
Yeah, when I look at football in the Champions League, football is a feeling, right? And with Real Madrid, there's always this feeling that the tie is never over. It doesn't matter the goals. And there's a mentality complex that even though Bayern got the first leg victory, history says that Real Madrid have been mentally more astute and mentally own Bayern Munich as an institution, right? So the key for me and the big storyline I'm looking at is we talk about the significance of yellow cards in this quarterfinal matchups, right? The biggest loss for Real Madrid was Aurelien Tchouameni getting that yellow carded, going to be suspended for it. So my big question and my big storyline is what's going to be the Madrid midfield makeover? The number one person, the number one focus is Jude Bellingham. He has to start. And you said it, that of course, he has history against Bayern, playing for Borussia Dortmund and playing well against Bayern Munich. But the big puzzle piece that Arbeloa has to figure out is who is he going to put in that defensive midfield position? My big thing for me, and I know a lot of people fancy him going forward, but the one player that I wouldn't put in is Eduardo Camavinga. I know he's the like-for-like replacement. I watched their match against Girona. He was shocking. Shocking technically, shocking mentally, and I'm a big fan of Camavinga. I think he's got really high ceiling. I remember watching him at Rennes in Ligue 1 when he came through the ranks and got that move to Real Madrid. But as of late, and the Mallorca match can prove it, he just seems like he's a fish out of water. He just seems like his focus hasn't been there. And so for me, I would love to see him roll the dice, Arbeloa, and maybe throw Fede Valverde in there in that defensive midfield position. But then you have a midfield of, for sure, Arda Güler starts, for sure Jude has to start, and for sure Valverde has to start. The X factor is who does he put in to be that last person in that midfield?
Do you think whoever he puts in has to be more defence-minded or attack-minded?
In that number 6 role?
Yeah.
Defence-minded. Because you know Jude...
Even though they're chasing the tie.
Jude is going to get forward. You have to respect a Bayern Munich side that just set a Bundesliga record in goals. That they're going to get numbers for, they're going to get their chances, but they're also going to give up chances as well. So having someone who can be that anchor in the middle is going to be massive.
And it will allow Trent Alexander-Arnold to go forward with more impunity than without. So I think that you need that extra man in defensive transition.
In the first leg, Madrid had the most counterattacks they've ever had in one match in a single season, this season, sorry. Do you not expect to see that again today?
I mean, absolutely. Bayern Munich, for as good as they are offensively, and we had talked about this, who were two of the most underwhelming players in that first leg from a Bayern side, would you say?
I'd say fullbacks. We never saw Real Madrid's fullbacks get taken apart, did we, in the game? Because we expected, because their wingers cut inside and it allows space for the fullbacks. Never saw that in the game at all. Didn't see that at all. Well, who were you going to say?
I was going to say the two center backs for Bayern Munich. I thought for as bad and as exposed from the fullback position from a Bayern Munich side, their weakest point for me, if I'm Kylian Mbappé, if I'm the likes of Vinny Jr., get after the two fullbacks, and we're going to see the lineups of how both these two sides.
In the first leg, I didn't know they got at their fullbacks particularly.
Sorry, the two centre backs.
Yeah, centre backs. Yeah, fullbacks.
Centre backs.
They never exposed. Not really.
If we look at the projected starting 11s, I think to note out, Bellingham, Mbappé and Vinny, they're all on yellow cards. If they get another yellow card, they'll be suspended for the semi-finals if they were to make it. Jeff, do you think that will change how they approach this game, Real Madrid, or how they play today?
Well, it won't affect how Real Madrid play. It affects the individuals. It's a really, really horrible one for players because you can't go in with a handbrake on, especially in a knockout tie. All you can really do is you take away the licence to do something stupid in terms of a bit of ill discipline, maybe dissent, something like that. You have that in your mind, but you've got to play the way you normally play. So they should be able to play, but you know, football's an emotional game, Hannah. It doesn't help, but I don't think they can afford to think about it going into the game.
Yeah, I don't think they'll think about it one click, right? World Cup winner who's played a ton of games, Champions League winner, there's experience there. Just 2 lineup decisions. Ferland Mendy coming in is going to be massive, and you'd mentioned fullbacks. I mean, Paredes may have just ended his stint as a starter for Real Madrid in that left back position, and Yamal Musiala as well. I know a lot of Bayern fans, we're going to see one in buckets, who are waiting for this moment for him. Serge Gnabry with a knock, questions about his health. Musiala getting a performance is massive for Bayern, but even bigger for Germany. The biggest question going on around world football is, can they do it? I'm a firm believer that confidence starts at the top. And Lamine Yamal said, let's see if Cholo Simeone does me a favor and puts me 1v1 on the field in 1v1 situations as a player. Because for me, if Lamine gets 1v1 isolated with anyone, I don't care who it is in world football right now, he will be a big, big problem. But other players, like a Marcus Rashford, other players like a Lewandowski, other players in the final third, they have to pick up the slack because he's putting it up on the platter, but people have to finish it.
Well done, Lahoud. Very nice stuff under Lahoud.
He's made me rethink my bet now.
Okay, Ron, that leads us into our Continental Tyre Match of the Week, presented by Continental Tyre, the smart choice in tyres. So Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. Barca are down by 2 goals. A very interesting stat here. Only 2 of 194 teams have advanced after losing the first home leg by 2+ goals in the Champions League knockout rounds, those being Manchester United and Ajax. Bogert, what do Barcelona need to do today to be the 3rd team on that list?
Stay true to themselves, create enough chaos, and play with fearlessness to get in the final third. The relentless pressing, the 90 minutes, maybe plus stoppage time, to keep on going forward again and again and again. There will be chances for Atletico Madrid. There will be chances in behind with the high press, as well as just in transition, because Barcelona are going to commit numbers forward. It won't be too dissimilar to the second leg in the Copa del Rey, in which they were down 4-0 after the first leg. The second leg was 3-0. And when they scored that 3rd goal, I think we all thought Barcelona were coming back. Atleti did hold out, and they won 4-3 over 2 legs. Today, it's just a 2-goal deficit. Yes, they're on the road. It's different than being back at home, but they can concede goals. If this ends 4-2 and goes to extra time, they can put 4 goals past Atletico Madrid and know that they're an elite defensive team. But Barcelona, with this pressure, with this relentlessness and fearlessness, and Lamine Yamal in the middle, that's how they would do it today.
I think the question marks are all about Atleti. We know what Barcelona can do. We know what Lamine Yamal is going to try and do. We know what their approach will be. How will Atleti approach this game? Because if they go out and try and defend the lead they have, you're inviting trouble. So the old adage, best form of defence is attack, applies. However, they don't need to attack because they're winning 2-0. That graphic that we had just now, you know, only twice in Champions League history. Yeah. That's there for a reason. It shows you how difficult it is. I mean, that's an incredible stat. Just twice. Just twice. I still make Atleti firm favourites because of the score from the first leg. But as we said yesterday, Tom, of all the 4 games, this for me is the most finely balanced. And I think we'll know in the first 15 minutes that what Atleti's approach is going to be. And also, you referenced it, Mikey. I love Yamal. I hope he does me a favour. Bring it on, bring it on. Double team me. Because that, you know, as you know, having played, if you mark somebody, you put 2 players on them, it leaves space elsewhere. And as you illustrated perfectly just now as well, he's that clever. He can make space for other people. He just needs the other players to read that and find that space.
Hansi Flick, speaking before the game, goes, quote, "Am I worried about taking too many risks? This is our style. This is how we want to play football." This is how they are either going to advance or go out on their shield. Yeah. And that's what you're going to get from Barcelona, and I think it's set up for an excellent game today.
Yeah, I don't think Hansi Flick knows any other way with this Barcelona side. And, you know, Frankie de Jong was back at the weekend. I think it's a bit aggressive to just throw him in the mixer. But if you see a midfield 2 of Dani Olmo and Fermin, that tells you everything that Barcelona, whether you love it, hate it, indifferent to it, they're going to go all out for this match.
What is it about knockout stages, though, with Atletico Madrid? Because in La Liga, Barcelona are 22 points ahead of Atletico Madrid. So why is it different in knockout stages? Do you think the mentality is different, Geoff? Or It's against Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah, you've only got to point to Diego Simeone's record. I think it's 14, isn't it? And he's never lost at home in the second leg, which is just utterly ridiculous. So that's another thing. Barcelona aren't just taking on Atleti in a football match. It's the aura of invincibility that they have around a second leg at home. So that's a massive thing to get past as well. It's almost like, you know, when we talk about Real Madrid, we all say, never write them off because of what they've done in this competition. I think you have to respect Atleti in the same light because of his record at home. It's real simple. They don't get beaten. It doesn't happen. So Barcelona have got to do something really special to be the first to do it. However, if they hit top flight, as Mikey explained, and Tom said as well, Barcelona can be something special. It's all there. It's all to play for.
Yeah, well, that's Atletico Madrid taking on Barcelona. They're 2-0 up on aggregate at the Metropolitano tonight.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.